Hello, my name is John Pendell, and these are the pieces of the puzzle that makes up me for 880 AEP. I'm here to tell you about a little bit about myself. I currently live in New Jersey with my family, but I've lived all over, from Florida to Louisiana to California to Seattle and Washington. I think the western part of the United States is probably my favorite, but right now family concerns keep me in New Jersey. All I ever do is work. I just recently graduated with a bachelor's in general studies from FHSU and am plowing ahead into a master's degree in ESOL, which is English for Speakers of Other Languages. I drive a truck about 60 hours a week, and I feel very fortunate that I have a job that gives me the time and the money to pursue an online degree. Otherwise, it would be very difficult for me. That said, I'm extremely busy. School takes up so much time, and so does work, and whatever's left kind of goes to my family. Generally speaking, I don't have as much fun as I want to, but it's a worthwhile endeavor for now. I really feel like I'm moving ahead, and that makes me very happy. My favorite thing by far is traveling. It doesn't matter how, whether it's an airplane or a train or a boat. I love changing my location. And learning new things and just there's a feeling of freedom that I get from traveling that is hard to replace in any other way. Believe it or not, even driving a truck that still counts as traveling. So I am fortunate that I get to see new things often. I really enjoy when I'm driving a truck. I enjoy seeing the seasons because you get to go all throughout the United States as the year goes by. You get to see the planting and the growing and the harvesting and then the winter time. It's all very interesting. The main reason that I did a master's degree in ESOL is so that I can teach English overseas. So that will kind of be the zenith of a traveler's dream, because I get to move to other countries and there will already be a job waiting for me and a network, and I will get to live and truly experience that different country and that culture for up to a year or more if I like to stay. So that's very exciting to me, and that's why I keep pushing forward. If I wasn't so busy, in a previous life, I was a good glass blower, I was a good welder. I like the creative endeavors. I'm something of an artist. I was never very happy with painting or anything like that, but three-dimensional crafts like pottery, working with concrete and stone and metal and glass are very, very compelling to me. It's something I'd like to pick up again in the future at some point. I'm not sure if I ever will, to be honest with you. But I keep hoping for that day when I have a workshop of my own and I can really get into it. I also like to ride my bike whenever I can, because you got to stay as healthy as you can. I'm 46 years old and I sit around driving a truck most of my day. So I really try to exercise whenever I can, just to increase the longevity and the usable years of my life. This is my family. That's my mom and my dad and me on the left, and my sister and her husband on the right. And my two favorite people are my niece and my nephew. Being an uncle is one of my favorite things in life. It's absolutely wonderful. I don't know if I'll ever have children of my own. I tend to think no. So this is kind of my chance to witness the growth of a human being, and it's been a wonderful experience to watch them grow and learn and develop into their own people, and we just have a wonderful time together. So this is pretty much most of my family. I have some aunts and uncles that are elsewhere that I don't see very often, but the past 10 years or so has been a great time for our family to be together in one place. As far as my own ancestry goes, my mom's side is Hungarian and Eastern European, and my dad's side is almost 100% English. But generally speaking, I consider myself to be a fairly generic white guy. That's one of the things that I lament in my life and in this country, is that there's not a lot of cultural identity for someone like me. I'm just kind of American and white, and there's not a whole lot of tradition in our family. My family is religious; they're Christians, so a lot of it revolves around church and the Christian holidays like Easter and Christmas and stuff like that. But honestly, there isn't very much that's unique to us that harkens back to the old country or anything like that. We're just kind of a modern American family, making it up as we go along, it seems. These are called plum dumplings, and it's one of the only things that I can think of that is a food item that my mom makes that was passed on to her from her grandmother. And this is distinctly Hungarian. It's a ripe plum surrounded in a potato kind of dough, and then boiled and then browned in a skillet with breadcrumbs on all over it. And they're delicious. It's something I grew up with as a kid. But again, it's one of the only things that I can think of as far as a food or a recipe that was passed down through the ages that has any relation to my ancestry or where my family is from. In a former life, I was a chef, and I spent a lot of that time working on yachts for rich people, which was a unique cultural event for me because I was constantly traveling, and I was always responsible to provide, fancy meals for the owners and the crew. And that took me to very many different locales, and I was always going ashore to buy ingredients and go through the markets, and that was a real eye-opener into other cultures. I spent a lot of time in Europe, and they have some of the most authentic cultural markets around, and they really hold on to their cultural identity very tightly. And one of the ways that that's expressed the most is through their food. So it was great for me to have that eye-opening opportunity to see it and witness it and try to mimic it and just do it as much as I could in that world. I also learned how to cook kosher during that time, as well as, Asian and all kinds of other things. But I remember when I was doing kosher food, I remember feeling slightly envious because they had such a strong tradition that they were holding on to, and the grandmother was passing it on to her granddaughters. And everybody in the family loved to eat her food, and it was all just tradition and cultural identity. And it was fun for me to learn about it. But again, I was kind of envious. This is the last picture, and it just kind of sums it up for me. It's worth saying that I don't really feel a very strong cultural identity at all. I've kind of alluded to it throughout this presentation, but there isn't very much in my family and in my life, and even in my country or my state, that really seems to say very much in a cultural way. I'm very much an individual. There is not a lot that I've really felt that I've been a part of in life, and I always just kind of concentrated on being malleable and adaptable and being able to hang out with all kinds of people and soak up their culture and take what I wanted and leave the rest and kind of move on to the next experience. It's kind of a strange thing in modern America that, we just left a lot of that stuff behind, and I guess it didn't come across the ocean on the boat with them, It takes a lot of effort to maintain that kind of thing, and it's sort of absent in my life. So generally speaking, I would call myself very accepting of other people's cultures, slightly envious, and eager to learn more. I want to accept people as they are and share what I can with them. So thank you for your time. I hope you enjoy my presentation. Have a great day.